remember going on my first helicopter assault in combat, and I was nervous and I was frightened. And when we were on the ground and things had settled down, I immediately thought back and said, that was tough, but I wasn't nearly as anxious as I was waiting for the kickoff of the Army-Navy game.
As the autumn leaves disappear and the college football season draws to a close, we look towards excellence. Excellence of character exhibited in the most American of all rivalries, the Army-Navy game. The greatest rivalry in all of sports.
You know you're going out there doing something that, I mean, the greats, Pete Dawkins and Doc Blanchard and Glenn Davis have done before you. And all you see walking out there is just that image. And you know you're playing in one of the nation's biggest rivalries.
It's such an awesome rivalry because everyone is somehow related to someone that's been in the Army or Navy, one of their relatives or friends. So everyone has a tie back to that game. And I think that's why there's so much emotion and rivalry built up in the game.
When you come back 20 years later, people will ask you how many times you beat Navy, how many times did you win the CIC, and you know that's the main goal.
Persevere, 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 and the tide will turn. Now we get to play for a championship. You better execute in the areas that we talk about. You better play together with superior effort. And we're going to start today. We're going to make this a season to remember.
Desperate to win, right? Desperate to win. Let's go.
It's what we were made for. Toughest win for these games. Mentally tough, physically tough.
When they look you in the eye, keep letting them know you're coming back again. They've understand that. Go play for each other. Go fight. Go fight. Go fight.
Each and every one of us is dependent on each other. And let's be great today. Let's be great today. Let's be relentless today.
Nobody understands this better than we do. You understand it, right? Nobody will ever understand it better than we do.
We work. We train. We in the field. We don't sleep. It's us. It's us. It's always been us.
Great opportunities provide the pages for great stories. Yeah. Boys, we got ourselves a great opportunity. Pour everything into each other, into doing your job, and to following the plan. There's not much needs to be said. We know what we got to do. Let this be the most physical four quarters of football you ever played in your life. You want this? Go out there. You earned this. You deserve this. Ain't much here to be said, bro. We know what you need to do. Energy all day. Play with passion and effort. Everybody, all these seniors, put everything in this. I put everything in this. Every step you take, everything you got, man.
Because we got a championship on the line in early December.
I just can't wait for the next one. Be Navy.
Eyes on the CIC.
Hey, job's not done, though. We got one down. We got one more to go. Can't wait. It's the last shot. It's the last shot. What you gonna do to get it?
And a very good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cadet First Class Club for another edition of This Week in Army Football, the final edition of the 2023 season. We're here with you for the next hour as we get set for the biggest game of the season, the next game, and game where there's nothing like it. And the week has been exciting, more fun tonight, and of course Thursday and Friday as we get set for the 124th Army-Navy game presented by USAA coming up on Saturday from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Army and Navy for the 124th time. Army looking to pick up and win outright the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for the first time since 2020. Also pick up a fourth straight victory to close out the season. Lots to talk about and a lot to get to as we welcome in, how about This Week in Army Football welcome one final time in 2023 for the head coach of the Black Knights, Jeff Monken. Jeff, welcome
Thank you,
to
Rich.
the show. Army-Navy week. How's it going so far?
Well, It's kind of been Army-Navy 3 weeks, so we've been doing a lot of work to get ready for this football game, and frankly, I like having the time. It gets our team healthy, and we can cover just every scenario that may come up in the game, and I know we won't be able to get to all of them, but even today on the practice field, some mistakes that we got to correct, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm glad we had this week to practice these things and get it right. So hopefully over the next couple of days, we'll get all those things ironed out and be ready to play our very best game of the year.
You know, we haven't had a show since November 16th, 2 days before your last game, which was Senior Day, Coastal Carolina, and the big storyline, which now for the last few weeks has been kind of out there and dissipated a bit, was your team's performance against Coastal Carolina going into that game with an offense which we really hadn't seen all year, an under center flex mode option, and you were able to ride that to a victory. And Jeff, I think it surprised a lot of people, not only that you'd go under center, keep with it for the whole game. How much did that impress you, the way your team was able to adapt, go back to an offense which they ran, and come up with that kind of success?
Our guys did a really good job, and we had gotten under center for a couple of plays throughout the year. Not very much, obviously, but for our older guys, it's kind of like riding a bike. We introduced those plays again, and they knew the fundamentals. They were able to execute it, and the element of surprise was, I think, there in terms of the Coastal Carolina defense. And I didn't have any thought that we might be able to stay in it the entire game. We wanted to be able to do it as a change-up, and then I told the offensive coaches I want to start under center and see how it goes. So we did. It went pretty well. We scored on the opening drive, and it just felt like we had Coastal in a place where we knew how they were going to line up. They really didn't have a lot of adjustments, and obviously so they were preparing for a different look from us, and it was able to work out. And our guys really executed well. I was really proud of our linemen, especially, but the two running backs, Jacoby Buchanan and Tyson Riley, who really kind of stepped back into their old role and handled it really well. Bryson did a nice job of taking care of the ball and distributing the ball as it needed to be, and so, like I said, didn't expect to do it all day long, but we were able to stay in it, and it helped us get a victory.
And Jeff, really impressive in your post-game news conference, of course, the execution of your players, so key to that victory, but also pointing out the humility of your offensive coordinator, Drew Thatcher, to take the input, the play calling from Cody Worley for those under center plays. And it seems like that's how healthy leadership works, of working together in what's best for a team to win.
There can't be any egos with a team. If there are egos within a team, then we're not going to be as good as we can be, and a team's not going to be as strong as it can be if there are individuals concerned about themselves, their own ego. We just want to do what's best for the team, and everybody has a role, and everybody has the same goal, and that's to get us to the victory circle. And so I do agree with you, just Thatcher being able to kind of relinquish that, and he doesn't have as much experience as Cody does with the under center stuff, and so we were able to kind of work together, everybody being able to communicate as Drew did throughout the game, and give feedback and give input, and so it was great. It was awesome. It felt like Army football, and it was a great win for us.
So, Jeff, here's the million-dollar question. Breaking news tonight. What will be the offense come Saturday in Foxborough?
Well, it'll be 11 guys executing the plays that we got called, hopefully as well as we can, and there's certainly going off the last game some confidence in doing the things that we did. But we practiced a lot with this other stuff and the offense that we've been running all year. So we'll have an offense out there. I certainly can't reveal what we're going to do for sure, but I just hope whatever we do and whatever plays are called, we'll be able to execute them at a high level. We're going to need to. It's going to be a tough game.
Here on This Week at Army Football until 8 o'clock, we have your questions taking you right up until that time, and then Coach is going to make a beeline out of here and up to the bonfire, which is going to be a lot of fun tonight. Goat Engineer games going on today. Women's basketball was in action up at Crystal Arena. So much as we get set for Army-Navy coming up on Saturday. Time now to welcome in one final time here in 2023. Corey on the wireless microphone. Can you believe we're at the end of another season of this show? I can't believe it.
The season's gone fast.
I sure can't.
Corey, it has. It's gone fast.
I can't believe it.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
I can't believe Army-Navy weekend is here. It's literally, it came so fast. It really did.
I wish we could start it over again.
I do too.
There's a lot of do-overs I'd like back.
Hey, but you know what? 3 in a row heading into Saturday. So Corey, one last week with some questions from our viewers, our listeners, our audience.
Yes. This is your last chance of 2023 to get questions into Coach. So please submit them into the comments and we'll get them answered.
We always, at this time of the show, well, we're going to get to the trivia question, and actually we're giving away 4 tickets to Army-Navy basketball doubleheader is what we're giving away with our trivia challenge. But I can always scan our special guest this year. I don't know if I see our special guest yet.
He'll be here. Oh, no, I see him.
Oh, you see Clayton. Okay.
Yeah, he's over there.
Okay, so Clayton Kendrick-Holmes, and I'll tell you what, he's someone who really doesn't need any intro.
Well, no, he's I can tell you, he's been around here for a good while. I don't know if it's 7 years, 8 years. He's been here with us, and he's kind of my right-hand man. He's an awesome guy, a former head coach, so to have somebody in the chief of staff role that can really oversee all the things that are going on in the office and give me an opportunity to just lead the program, to procure the talent that we need in our program, whether it's players, staff, coaches, and to drive the culture of our program. And I'm so glad we got Clayton on our staff. He does a great job.
We will have Clayton Kendrick-Holmes, Associate Athletic Director, Chief of Staff, coming up in just a moment. First, a quick thank you for everyone who participated in this year's weekly Trivia Challenge. We're hoping to bring it back next year. We got to check with Jeff Monken and our producers.
Oh, I love it. Let's do it.
I'm going to put him on microphone. Ryan Panny, can you get a microphone and just tell us what, Jeff, you've been asking the questions each week. This is the guy who comes up with them, comes up with all of our graphics, and he's just the man behind the curtain for this show.
Ryan, awesome job this year.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, I hope you got some good questions tonight. I might have to pull that compliment back after we hear the questions for tonight. So I hope they're good. Okay.
I think they're good this week.
Take your word for it.
He did pretty good this week.
Good job, Ryan.
Okay, now is your chance. Test your Army football knowledge. See, Ryan gets a shout out from Coach Monken. That's very, very nice. Scan the QR code now on your screen to enter your answers. Remember, fastest correct answer will win. Question number 1, what division did Army honor with their uniform for the 2022 Army-Navy game? So it was a division, who was honored?
Got
who was
it.
honored for the 2022, which I think I actually know.
I know that
which is
one.
Scary. Okay, coming up next, Clayton Kendrick-Holmes, our final special guest of the season here on This Week in Army Football, live from the Cadet First Class Club at West Point, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
At the United States Military Academy, you're on the team from day one.
A team where people are the #1 priority and winning matters.
A team of scholars, athletes, and leaders, each striving to become all that they can be.
Are you ready to join our team?
West Point, where leaders are made.
I think in general, just never quit and keep working hard, and even when you think you're working hard, just double down, keep doing even more. And I think at the end of the day, it's not always about playing for yourself, it's about playing for your teammates. I think that's something we really emphasize going into Air Force, and I think that helped not only myself, but everybody kind of just put some extra emotion in the way they're playing. I think every season, especially CIC games, are about the senior class. And so I think if you're giving everything you got to make sure that your brothers to your left and right, especially for the firsties, get a ring on their finger their senior year, that's kind of the ultimate goal.
It's just an honor and privilege to be a part of this team and the Army-Navy game. The Commander-in-Chief's trophy, in my opinion, is the most coveted trophy in all the sports. There aren't 3 teams in any sport that fight harder to win a championship than the 3 teams involved in this trophy. And there's a lot of other trophies out there. There's going to be national championship games, and next weekend there's going to be conference championship games. But I assure you that none of those mean as much to those teams as this one means to us. So we're going to fight as hard as we can. I hope we'll put ourselves in position to win it.
Going through the years, this is now my 4th Army-Navy game. And, anyone on the team will tell you how important it is to them. Being able to play on a stage like this, being able to perform with each other, is really something we're looking forward to. We faced some challenges this season, a few games that we lost, and they ended up being 1-score games. And that could have swung our way, and we hope to have won. But the lessons we've learned from that, more important than any. And I'm so proud of the way that the teams approached it and faced it head on, faced the adversity, and climbed back to 2-6 to 5-6, and a chance to end the season at least even with an even record and CIC champions.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
And welcome back to This Week in Army Football, final show of the 2023 season as we get set for the biggest game of the 2023 season. Rich DeMarco alongside Army head coach Jeff Monken and our special guest this segment. Eisenhower Hall Theater at West Point back with a full season of entertainment. Enjoy Broadway musicals, plays, family-friendly shows for the little ones, and live concerts. Visit iCall.com. Save up to 20% with a season subscription. Get your tickets now at iCall.com. That's iCall.com. And we welcome, as Jeff Monken puts it, his right-hand man with the Army football program, Associate Athletic Director, Chief of Staff of the Army football program, former head coach, successful championship head coach at Maritime College down in the Bronx. We welcome Clayton Kendrick-Holmes to the show. Clayton, welcome. The man that makes it all happen.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me back.
Big week for you. Busy week. Take us through the week.
Well, I mean, we've had a lot of time this year with the 3 weeks to get ready for it. So I think if it takes, you use as much time as it takes to get it done. So whether it's 3 days or 3 weeks, you're going to use every single minute of it to try to get ready and give ourselves the best advantage. So we've been at this for a little while, getting ready for it and getting everything set up. So we got our operations team. I mean, we went and looked in Boston at the hotel and the stadium and everything back in the summer, in the spring. And, we've been working this week to try to wrap everything up, tie a bow on it.
It's funny, Jeff, when I was talking to Chris Blair earlier this season, who was your play-by-play guy at Georgia Southern, is now at LSU, he said, Jeff Monken, everyone has to be on board and pushing in that same direction at that same level of energy and confidence. There must be a lot of trust you put in this man sitting between us.
A lot of trust. And what's great about having a former head coach is he sees the program and recognizes the things that need to be done from a head coach's perspective. And it's different when you're a head coach. And so he covers me a lot and sees things that I may need to make a decision on. He'll bring them to me and he'll say, here's what's going on, or here we need to make a decision on this. And here's my recommendation based on what I see. I mean, he's just fantastic. He's made my job so much easier to be the head coach, and so I appreciate Clayton a whole lot.
Clayton, and for you and you know, linking up with Jeff Monken after your coaching career, how did that all come to be?
I don't know. Coach called me a couple of times and offered me jobs, and I said no. And when he called me for the third time, I told my wife, I said, I better take this job or he's not going to call again. So I've always wanted to work with, you know, Coach, you know, and be a part of this. And, you know, part of my passion is supporting Warriors and, you know, being a part of college football. And what better place to do it than here at West Point. So, you know, I think the military people kind of understand the whole commander's intent thing. And so that's kind of how I look at it. I just try to be the guy I always wish I had at small college football, and you know, help keep Coach focused on driving culture and acquiring talent, which is really focusing on the football part and also on the recruiting, which is, you know, really where he needs to be to help us out the most. And I try to take care of as much of the administrative stuff, which I have experience with. And we've got an amazing staff. I mean, you know, it's everything, and staffs have been growing, so you know, you've got the strength staff. Which
so that's changed. So really, this job was a, you know, director of ops. It was now the director of ops is one of the jobs that is under a chief of staff. I mean, this has evolved. Even 30 years ago when I was in college, it was just, you know, it was such a narrow thing to do. It's all encompassing now.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, having Aiden Opfer as our director of football operations, he's really done a lot more of the nuts and bolts kind of thing. So I can focus more on, you know, supporting Coach Monken and doing some of the kind of looking out further. I told Coach Monken earlier this week I'm kind of past the Army-Navy game already. We're, you know, I'm looking at schedules and trying to get, you know, academic schedules set up for the spring and spring practice and you know, summer training, banquet, you know, all those different things that kind of are beyond. You have to start planning those things now. You can't wait till then. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, let's talk about your award-winning coaching career. And actually, A Game of Honor, the movie about the Army-Navy game from back in 2011, Clayton Kendrick-Holmes is actually a vignette feature in that movie. If you happen to go watch it, I'm not going to ruin it for you, no spoilers here, but Clayton is profiled in the movie. Time at Maritime, championship coach. Actually, I was on vacation in Cape Cod by the Cape Cod Canal, looking over at Mass Maritime, take a picture of the stadium. He said, you won a lot of games there, right?
We won a couple of games there, yeah, we did. And actually, Jeremy Cameron, the head coach there, is coming to the Army-Navy game this year, so it's going to be a guest there, so I'm excited for him to see that. But, yeah, it was, I mean, a lot of fun to be a coach there and, you know, being able to be spotlighted as a part and kind of be a reservist who was spotlighted as part of the Army-Navy game and one of those people there. It was really my family, and it's awesome to have the footage of my sons when they're little, and my wife, you know, all the spouses out there, whether they're coaches' spouses or military spouses, they do a lot to support us in our jobs, and so you know, they're a big part, and I'm glad they were spotlighted.
Jeff, what's this Koss nickname for Clayton? Everyone calls him Koss. They said you got to call him Koss tonight. Ask how the Koss is doing.
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, multiple people found me today and said, we hear Clayton's on the show tonight. You got to refer to him as Koss and see what he says.
Well, it's just short for Chief of Staff.
Okay, but obviously
Chief of Stuff
it hit a little nerve there when I first used it.
No, I'm good with Koss.
Are you good with it? They said you have to keep calling him it tonight.
Sure, yeah,
come on. The Chief of Stuff, because there's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so, and you want to talk, we had you on last year, and that's a great guest, right? Clayton comes on the show, comes to me a couple weeks, and I really wanted to, get into this a little more as well, because I don't think people realize that when Army football goes on the road, forget about the home games, which is a whole, movement in its own right. I mean, it is, moving, a little town of people, right?
Yeah.
Went to a hotel and things like that. You wanted to go through some of those challenging things and what you're able to make happen when the team lands in a city, whether it's Monroe, Louisiana, or Denver, Colorado, to be able to get everything up and running to prepare for a Division I football game.
Right. I mean, when you arrive at the hotel, I think last year I said, hey, we're just trying to get everybody in their hotel rooms, but it's really a lot more than that. I mean, we have to set up our whole operation there in the hotel. So our training staff with Jackie McCann, she's going to set up a treatment room, and our guys have treatments that they need. Our strength staff with Connor Hughes is going to, they're going to be doing our supplements and doing stretching for our guys and making sure they're ready for peak performance. And then, we've got Luke Prue with our player development and Colonel Baskerville who's with our academics, is meeting with guys because our guys have tees next week, so they're going to be studying everything as we arrive up there on Thursday. They're going to have some academic requirements to do, and recruiting. There's some recruiting opportunities while we're up there at the hotel, so we'll be setting up that. So really every facet, not just the operations staff. There's a lot to get us there between police escorts and getting everybody into the hotel and getting us fed and getting us a practice location and moving around. There's a lot of those kind of moving parts.
Most people wouldn't believe all the things that go into just moving a football team from one city to another. And
and you're aware of it, but the thing is, you're the head coach, right? You're aware.
All I got to do is get on the bus. All I got to do is get on the bus.
And you have to have that trust, because you're the person in charge, right?
Yep.
But you have to have the trust that all that's getting done. And when you're getting on the bus, everyone's on the bus, right?
And I know it's going to get done because we got Clayton and we got a great staff, and really that's I do. I get to get on the bus and be the head coach and get prepared for the football part of it when we travel. And I mean, what a blessing that is. When you're the head coach at a smaller college or when you don't have a staff like that, you're the guy checking out to make sure all those things are done. And like I said, having a head coach and Clayton in that position, he sees all those things and knows what needs to be done.
And I'm sure, Clayton, you had to do some of that stuff when you were a head coach as well.
And even beyond that, so it's we've got to set up meeting rooms. So Chris Jan is setting all that up and all the video and everything else that goes along with that, and making sure we're all set up. So. It's we have to be able to operate when we're in Boston just like we're here. So that preparation is key.
Nervous for Saturday? What's going through your mind?
I mean, I always love it when the ball's kicked off because then I know we've arrived and we're there and everything's done, and then it's. But I'm excited. I can't wait for it. It's a game like no other.
So, and Clayton, you had asked that we talk about the next generation of athletes, right? Kendrick-Holmes, you have a couple sons that have done some
my guys are
the
done.
The Monkens you wanted to touch upon.
Well, I mean, the Monken name is going to, we're set to carry on.
I know.
We've got a next generation, and particularly in this operations field with Isabel.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's down there getting educated. And,
she is. She's ready to go back to work.
So she's working with us.
She is. We started her out some baby steps.
She worked with us and took that gap year, and now she's studying sports management. So she can't wait to graduate so she can get back into college football.
She'll be here? Maybe on staff.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know.
I send her little projects every once in a while.
I'm going to have to get some good letters of recommendation before that happens.
You have to talk to your chief of staff. Chief of staff. Clayton, always a pleasure, and really proud of everything that you've done. And you mentioned how proud you are, almost really being a coach of the support staff for Army football, and that has a lot of meaning.
It is. I've got a great position group, and they're, like I said, a bunch of all-stars. So, it's awesome to help guide them and help elevate Army football.
Mm-hmm.
A military veteran, a military reservist, Clayton Kendrick-Holmes.
Ready to go.
We appreciate it.
We do.
Clayton Kendrick-Holmes, our special guest here tonight. Okay, question number 2 of our trivia challenge. The Army-Navy game has a rich history with many traditions dating back to the first game. In what year for Army? Now, this is a little bit of a trick question because it's a little earlier, I think, than people assume. In what year did the Army-Navy uniform tradition begin with Nike? With Nike. When did it begin? It's a little earlier, I think, than people think. But when was the first special Nike uniform for Army-Navy? This is a little bit of a trick question, Jeff. It's a little while ago.
Got it. Yep.
Okay, that's our question. QR code, answer it when we come back. One final half an hour of your questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken. Clayton, great having you on the show.
Thanks for having me again.
Okay, we'll be back on This Week in Army Football right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
So we're all by ourselves in the middle of the Udari Desert, nothing to do but train. Again, 24/7, you got no place to go. We were developing a common visualization of how we would kind of do things.
The The 3rd Infantry Division is one of the oldest and most decorated divisions in the United States Army. Their tactical competence during the invasion of Iraq in 2003 added to their legacy. The soldiers in the 3rd Infantry Division are known as dog-faced soldiers. Their determination in the face of adversity lived up to that moniker. They led the longest and most rapid armored advance since World War II through the Iraqi capital city of Baghdad, with 2 surprise attacks that today are better known as Thunder Run.
The conclusion came to was like, look, I can't out-Baghdad the Iraqis. There's like no way I can know it better. What I can do is I can outfight them and I can out-decide them. If I can penetrate them and get behind them, then they don't have a plan to turn around and fight backwards.
That fearless mindset was in every soldier in the 3rd Infantry Division. The first Thunder Run was all about audacity, concentration, surprise, and tempo. Armored and mechanized formations provided the ability to penetrate enemy territory. Before Saddam's forces could recover, the second Thunder Run came in and drove straight into the heart of Baghdad, proving the Army could go anywhere at any time. These efforts from those dog-faced soldiers during the Thunder Runs demonstrated their competence, selfless service, and honored the legacy established by the division as the Rock of the Marne. On December 9th, Army football will follow a similar game plan that the 3rd ID set 20 years ago on enemy soil. In America's game, we look to honor those dog-faced soldiers that gave everything to defend our great nation. Go Army, beat Navy.
So yeah, USAA, they always have my back.
USAA? You were in the military?
Oh no, I wasn't, but my grandpa was. He joined USAA, passed membership to my mom, then to me.
There's other ways to get in?
Yeah. My neighbor Ron, he's in because his wife served. Even little Luna, once she's born, her dad served.
So all this time I could have had USAA insurance.
And banking.
Where's my phone?
Over there.
USAA, for the military community and their families.
Five, four, three.
And welcome back to This Week in Army Football, brought to you by West Point Family and MWR. FMWR offers horse sporting, golfing, skiing, catering, camping, and many more activities and programs. Visit westpoint.armymwr.com for more information. On the heels of our special guest, what a special guest, Jeff Monken, Clayton Kendrick-Holmes.
He does an incredible job for us, and we're just very fortunate to have him on our staff, and I'm very fortunate to have him kind of working side by side with me and helping me with all the things that need to be done as a head coach. Like I said, having another head coach in the building and really focusing on those things is invaluable.
Time now for your questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken. You can drop them into the comments section on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We're also broadcasting on the Varsity Network. You can listen. And now Corey in the Firsty Club with our final first question of the season. And look who's back. Look who's back.
And better than ever. He's back and he's better than ever. And we've got Jerry.
Good to see you, Jerry.
What a special treat. Here you go, Jerry. Take it away.
Coach, why did they change the rules on the block and on the triple option? Was it because of injuries or?
Well, that's a good question, and
some influential head coaches are on the committee.
They said it was because they felt like guys were getting injured because of the blocks below the waist, but there isn't any data or any there's nothing that supports that there's more injuries because there's blocking below the waist. In fact, they've been kind of coming after us with this offense and the cut blocks for years. And I've always argued, as Paul Johnson did, that tackling below the waist is just as dangerous and maybe more dangerous, because a ball carrier can't see a tackler coming from the side or from the back, and a ball carrier can be tackled up high and then have somebody take his legs out, which makes it particularly dangerous. That's never been legal to block anybody like that, but you can tackle somebody like that. So, frankly, my opinion is that there have been coaches for years trying to get rid of the offense, the under center option offense, and because it's really difficult to prepare for it, and kind of a pain in the rear end to scheme against. And so they finally got us, but it's the way it goes. So with the adjustment of the rules, we got to adjust a little bit, and that's what we've tried to do.
Thanks, Jerry,
Thanks,
for the
Jerry.
question.
Yep.
So we talk a lot about offenses, and of course being in the gun all year, and you did a lot under center against Coastal Carolina. What do you make of what Navy's been able to do with their offense? And they have a first-year head coach, Brian Newberry, who had been their defensive coordinator the last 4 years, and heading into his first Army-Navy game as the head man.
Brian's such a good football coach, and he's given people fits, given us fits, playing defense, and so they've continued to play really strong defense under his leadership. I think just his temperament, personality comes out in everything that they do. He hired a fellow coach of his from Kennesaw State, Grant Chestnut, who happened to play at Georgia Southern when I was an assistant there, and Grant's done a great job through his career. He did a really good job with the offense at Kennesaw State, and they, like us, have tried to implement some new schemes and kind of mesh some thoughts from under center and in the gun to make an offense their own. And there's been times where they played really, really well, and times they've gone through some growing pains like we have.
Army and Navy, 3 o'clock kick time on Saturday at Foxborough Gillette Stadium, home of the New England Patriots. We'll have airtime across the Army Sports Network at 1 with the Army Football Tailgate Show. Game also televised on CBS Network. Standalone game, the only college football game coming up on Saturday. Going to be a lot of fun. Corey, next question for Coach Monken.
All right, as we're talking a little bit of strategy around Navy, Anthony John said, their offense have been explosive. Their offense has been explosive at times this season. What's the plan to limit the big plays and keep the mids bottled up?
Well, that's the key, is not allowing big plays. Certainly in the passing game, not letting them throw it over our head. The big run plays, a lot of those either happen on the perimeter and they get us blocked up and a guy with speed is able to get out in space, or seams open up in the middle of the field and they've got to spread out and they bust out of there up the middle of the field. And they've done all of those things this year against other people. So it's a challenge. It's always a challenge to face an offense like this that's got a lot of option elements. And what we've got to do is be very disciplined with our eyes and make sure that we cover their receivers and get off of blocks. The whole game is trying to block people and keep them blocked, get off of blocks on defense and get ball carriers to the ground and take care of the ball. And so we got to do those things well if we're going to hope to have a chance to win.
Navy's played a number of quarterbacks this year, and 3 really stand out as being healthy-ish right now, whether it's Arline, Woodson, or Lavatai. What are the differences between the 3 who, I guess it's a toss-up, who you might see on Saturday?
Well, we've seen both Lavatai and Arline, the veteran quarterbacks. Woodson is obviously a new freshman quarterback that's very talented, but we've gotten a chance to see him on film. So all 3 of those guys have played. They all, I think, are healthy for the game. And we don't know until the game starts, won't know until the game starts, just who's going to play. And if they're going to go with one quarterback or if they're going to have different packages for those guys. And they've done that against us as well. So we're preparing for a lot and hoping that we'll be able to defend them and do our best.
Next question for Coach Monken.
All right, Coach, this one is from Brianna Scott. She said, what's your favorite part about this year's Army-Navy uniform?
Well, they're great uniforms. It's hard to pick one thing. I always like the helmets. I always like the design that they put on the helmets. Those are always very neat. And having the Rocky the Bulldog of the dog-faced soldiers, really, when you get up there close and you see these carrying a flag that says Third ID on it, It's a Disney character, which is pretty unique to be able to for the Army to be able to use a Disney character in one of their uniforms or as a mascot. So that I really like that. But just overall, the detail that goes into the uniforms, as every year, and nobody does it better than Nike. They are the best brand in sports, and all of the little details that you can't see from the TV screen, but you walk up to the uniform and in the numbers and on the helmet stripe, and there's details in that. The inside of the collar and the gear that we wear underneath, the shirts and the gloves and everything, just all of the little pieces that tie the Rock of the Marne, the Thunder Runs of the 3rd Infantry Division into this uniform is really special.
Uniforms, pretty nice. Gold helmets, sand. Gold,
sand. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. To obviously to mirror the environment that our soldiers were in 20 years ago in the Thunder Run going into Baghdad, and that, just an incredible bunch of soldiers and man, the incredible performance of our Army when we decided we were going to go do that. I mean, it wasn't weeks as we thought it would be. It was days, and just I think that just shows the power and the precision and the organization and the professionalism of the United States Army and our military and each soldier, each man and woman that serves, and their professionalism and their attention to detail and commitment to excellence.
And if you check out the Army athletic social media channels, lots of videos about the meaning, the background to those 3rd ID uniforms, and a great job being done on that. Next question for Coach Monken.
All right, I don't know if we know this one, but this one is from Janet Anderson, and she said, will the CIC trophy actually be at Gillette?
It will
Saturday?
Not. That's a good question.
Okay.
Very good question.
It will not. It's being held hostage right now out in Colorado. So the only way to pry it out of their grubby paws is to go win that thing on Saturday. So there's a lot at stake, and I know that the other team's going to be fighting just as hard as our guys. That's what makes it such a great game. So we've got to execute and perform, and hopefully come up with a victory. And then I guess shortly thereafter we'll get a delivery, and we'll have that trophy here where it belongs.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of folks waiting for that delivery when it comes here to West Point.
Well, let's hope we play well enough to get it done, Rich.
No doubt about that. Jeff, wanted to touch back, though, the reveal of the Army-Navy uniform for the 3rd ID. It was in the early morning, Tuesday, the 21st of November, up at the mess hall. How was that? How was that experience, being out there with all the cadets in front of the mess hall in the apron? Take us through that.
So just imagine that the sun isn't quite up yet. It's just starting to come over the mountaintops on the other side of the river. And you got 4,400 cadets standing out there, and it's a little misty and a little bit foggy, and that sun's kind of gleaming through there, and they don't know what. They know there's going to be a reveal. They have no idea what it's going to be or what to expect. And you hear the helicopters coming in, and you got helicopters landing out there on the plane, and out comes our leadership team, General Gillen, Mike Buddy, and shortly thereafter, football players in uniforms pouring out of the back of that, and they just part like the Red Sea, and they walk through the Corps, and it was really awesome just to see that. To see those guys in those uniforms climbing out of the helicopter. I mean, you almost imagine if they just change their uniforms a little bit into a soldier's uniform, just what that's like. And so it was really cool. They've always done such a great job with the reveal and made it special, and it deservingly so.
Absolutely. We'll have more questions for Jeff Monken in just a moment, but our next trivia question of the night, 2016. Army snapped a 14-year losing streak to Navy thanks to a late fourth-quarter touchdown by who? Who scored the late fourth-quarter? That was a layup. That's a layup right there. So late fourth-quarter touchdown, 2016, to win the Army-Navy game. When we come back, more questions for Jeff Monken. Army and Navy coming up on Saturday. You're watching This Week in Army Football right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
When
pain wants to keep you on the sidelines, know you have options to keep you doing what you love. As one of the world's leading medical technology companies, Stryker offers innovative foot and ankle products that help you get back in the game and on your feet. Stryker and Army West Point Athletics have joined forces to help you learn more about foot and ankle pain and provide you resources so you can find a specialist in your area. Visit Stryker.com/WestPoint to learn more.
I had already been here, and when I met him in camp, he was real quiet. Coach Sat one time said that he was a cute little fella, and so since then, I always call him that. At first, he was quiet, but now, I mean, he's my brother.
Just such a friendly, energetic guy. I think immediately we had a great connection. He's always been a mentor to me, but also kind of a best friend. I think we have a super special relationship, gotten close, and have a lot to connect over.
That is a place kicker trapped in the body of a linebacker.
And he gets so excited after a touchback.
And he gets everybody fired up along the sideline.
From the outside looking in, it's probably hilarious how different we are. I mean, he's from Hawaii, I'm from Texas, and obviously maybe a little bit too loud at times, and he's a very reserved person. He knows that, too.
We've kind of got a yin and yang thing going. I love his energy. It does fuel me, seeing him jumping around on the sidelines, flexing. I think it's awesome.
We both have a common goal, really. Us doing our job helps the team as much as possible, and so that's really where me and him click.
And Army's going to kick a field goal here with 3 seconds left to win this Armed Forces Bowl.
For the ball game. It's up.
Plenty of distance. The kick is good. It is good.
Army storming onto the field.
That was an amazing experience and something that I'll remember really for the rest of my life. I mean, the first thing I do is I'm freaking out so much that I'm accidentally like punching guys in the face.
And just running out on that field, watching him celebrate, trying to catch up with him, that's one of the biggest highlights of my Army football career.
They were so happy for me, and it was just, I've never felt more like I was on a team than that moment, and I love those guys.
Quinn Moretsky, the junior from Honolulu, Hawaii.
He can hit the beach if he can hit this field goal. For the win in double overtime for the Black Knights. Kick on the way. It is good.
Quinn Moretsky, the pride of Honolulu, Hawaii.
And the junior from Hawaii, aloha.
Talking about me and Cole, it was just kind of cool for both of us to come full circle. I mean, we both kind of went from kicks that we really wish we could have back to later in the season, coming through with big kicks.
We've both seen the lowest of the low and the highest of the high. And those were both big games for us, but then he hit that ball against Navy, and that'll go down in history. And I was so happy for him.
And to share that moment, we were both there for each other in both of those kicks. It was super special.
Welcome back to This Week in Army Football. Balance of Nature running a holiday offer for Army fans this year. Get 35% off plus a free month supply of fiber and spice on your first order as a preferred customer. Order today at balanceofnature.com. Use the code ARMY to claim your deal. Army, Navy coming up on Saturday. Jeff, when will you guys get out of town?
We're going to take off tomorrow afternoon. So in the morning, we'll have a chance to have some meetings and a walkthrough, and then we'll get on the bus and get up there in the afternoon so we can get settled in. We'll have some more meetings and film tomorrow night. And it's just starting tonight for practice, or this afternoon for practice, the pre-practice meetings, and then being out there on Howes and Goldstein Fields. That really started the weekend. So the rest of the rest of the weekend through the final horn of the game on Saturday is all dedicated to being prepared for this game.
Next question. More questions for Jeff Monken.
So, Coach, so kind of along that same note of like your guys' prep for Saturday, Dan Koch was wondering, will the team get to actually practice in Gillette before the game Saturday, or do you have an off-site practice?
We will not go to Gillette Stadium, but we will practice when we get up there on Friday. It's just hard logistically to work it out, and with the Patriots and what they have going on, and really kind of being out there and being exposed. You don't know who's in the stadium and who's standing up there from the other team taking pictures or taking video, and frankly, it's just a little easier to go to a place where we can control who's there.
Deion Sanders was there.
He was.
When you practiced before the Air Force game.
He was.
Any special guests maybe on Friday?
Oh, I'm not aware.
Okay.
There might be, but nobody's let me know. So.
And Coach Prime named the Sportsman of the Year from Sports Illustrated.
As he should be. He really was the face of college football this year, and just all the excitement and the attention that he brought to that institution, that program, and to college football in general. I mean, people just viewership, attendance, all of those things is up this year in college football, and that's everywhere. But it's because of stories like Deion Sanders. People got so interested, and I mean, he captured the nation in the college football world with his presence there at Colorado.
No doubt about that. Next question for Coach Monken.
All right, Coach. We've got this one from Steve Jawback. He said, Coach, during every televised game, they show what cadet life is like. What's your day-to-day like?
Oh, my day-to-day. Well, it's probably a lot more boring than I'd like for it to be. I mean, it's really like everybody else's job. I got a job to do every day. There's a lot of film watching. There's a lot of letter writing for recruiting. There's phone calls to prospects, meetings, and weight room sessions that I go to and encourage our guys, practice. I love it. I mean, it's what I enjoy doing. But you know what? There are coaches do things different ways. Everybody's got their own way to kind of accomplish the same thing, trying to win. And I grew up under Paul Johnson, so I probably set a schedule that's kind of favors what he did with us as a staff. And we don't meet at the wee hours of the morning. I hear coaches going in at 5 in the morning before the sun comes up, and they're having staff meetings at midnight and those kinds of things. We don't do that, but we work hard while we're there. I try to be there in the morning with my family and take my kids to the bus stop or take them to school, and a chance to see them and be a dad, and then go to the office and work really hard to try to make Army football the best it can be. Practice in the afternoon is the highlight. I love to be out there on the field. I love being out there with our players. Anything we're doing with the players are in there. Meetings, lifts, walkthroughs, practice, the meals afterwards. I just enjoy being around the players. And then, in the evenings, I do spend some time recruiting, calling prospects and those kinds of things. But it's just work, and it's the job that needs to be done for us to be the best we can be.
Jeff, hear from Paul Johnson these weeks leading up?
I do talk to Coach. I try to keep in touch with Coach Johnson. He's certainly been a mentor to me, and he's a remarkable football coach, going into the College Football Hall of Fame, deservingly so, yes. And so to have a guy like that I can call and just bounce things off of, or cry the blues sometimes. It's good to have Coach Johnson, and he's a mentor, but he's also a friend.
Time now for the final question of tonight's show, final question of the season. And again, the prize this week is going to be 4 tickets to the Army-Navy men's women's basketball doubleheader. Since 1890, Army and Navy have played each other every year, with the exception of how many years? How many years has there not been an Army-Navy game? Which actually, I got this one right on a guess when we tested them out during the week. So I was happy with that one.
I'm going to take my guess, too, but
okay.
Yeah.
So how many years has Army-Navy not been played? It's the 124th Army-Navy game presented by USAA. When we come back, one more round of questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken. It's Army-Navy coming up on Saturday. We're here with you on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
I remember going on my first helicopter assault in combat, and I was nervous and I was frightened. And when we were on the ground and things had settled down, I immediately thought back and said, that was tough, but I wasn't nearly as anxious as I was waiting for the kickoff of the Army-Navy game.
As the autumn leaves disappear and the college football season draws to a close, we look towards excellence. Excellence of character exhibited in the most American of all rivalries, the Army-Navy game. The greatest rivalry in all of sports.
You know you're going out there doing something that, I mean, the greats, Pete Dawkins and Doc Blanchard and Glenn Davis have done before you, and all you see walking out there is just that image. And you know you're playing in one of the nation's biggest rivalries.
It's such an awesome rivalry because everyone is somehow related to someone that's been in the Army or Navy, one of their relatives or friends. So everyone has a tie back to that game. And I think that's why there's so much emotion and rivalry built up in the game.
When you come back 20 years later, people will ask you how many times you beat Navy, how many times did you win the CIC, and you know that's the main goal.
Persevere, 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 and the tide will turn. Now we get to play for a championship.
You better execute in the areas that we talk about. You better play together with superior effort. And we're going to start today. We're going to make this a season to remember.
Desperate to win, right? Desperate to win. Let's go.
It's what we were made for. Toughness wins these games. Mentally tough, physically tough.
When they look you in the eye, keep letting them know you're coming back again. They understand that. Go play for each other. Go fight. Go fight. Go fight.
Each and every one of us is dependent on each other. And let's be great today. Let's be great today. Let's be relentless today.
Nobody understands this better than we do. You understand it, right? Nobody will ever understand it better than we do.
We work. We train. We in the field. We don't sleep. It's us. It's us. It's always been us.
Great opportunities provide the pages for great stories. Yeah. Boys, we got ourselves a great opportunity. Pour everything into each other, into doing your job, and to following the plan.
There's not much needs to be said. We know what we got to do. Let this be the most physical four quarters of football you ever played in your life. One mission. Go out there. You've earned it. You deserve this. Ain't much here to be said, bro. We know what you need to do. Energy all day. Play with passion and effort. Everybody, all these seniors, put everything in this. I put everything in this. Every step you take, everything you've got, man.
Because we got a championship on the line in early December.
I just can't wait for the next one. Be Navy.
Eyes on the CIC.
Hey, job's not done, though. We got one down. We got one more to go. Can't wait. It's the last shot. It's the last shot. What you gonna do to get it?
Army West Point Athletics would like to thank its restaurant and tavern partners, Brothers Barbecue and O'Toole's Pub. Check out the restaurant and tavern partners portion of GoArmyWestPoint.com for more information. Support those who support the Corps. Time for two final questions for Army head coach. Definitely one, maybe two. Let's go, Corey.
Okay, cool. We're going to start with Megan Morris, and she asked, Coach, can you talk a little bit about the departing senior class?
What a great senior class. Over 30 guys in that class, and they've meant a lot to the program and the success of our program. What's been most impressive with these guys this year is just the ups and downs that we've had. We've had a lot of disappointments, unfortunately, and they've powered through it and led our team through it, and now we're on a 3-game winning streak because of their leadership. You know, I can't say enough for, I'd like to talk about every one of them, but just how much they meant to me, to our team, and to position us like we are right now to go play in the biggest game of the year and have a chance to win. And I think we've got a chance because of their leadership.
Thank you for the questions, Corey. I think we have one more time for one more quick one.
Fire away. Let's
go.
go.
One last one.
This is a good one. It feels fitting to end on this. John Burgess just asked, is there anything special for dinner this weekend for you or the team? So obviously New England is not known for BBQ. A little seafood or something like that?
I hear we're getting a lobster roll when we get there. So
that's a great way to end. Hey, Jeff, let's go through the questions, right? What division did Army honor last year, 2022?
The great First Armored Division.
Army-Navy game, rich history with uniforms. What year did the Army-Navy uniform tradition with Nike begin?
People would say 2017, but it was 2008.
It was.
Yep.
The all-camo uniforms.
Yep.
Army went into the locker room, had the regular uniforms on,
I didn't
went into
know
the
that
locker
one,
room, came out with the helmets and the jerseys. 2016 Army snapped a 14-year losing streak to Navy. Who had the late fourth quarter touchdown
16.
to win?
Sorry,
16. Yeah, 16. Yep. Who had the late fourth quarter touchdown?
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yep. Piled in. I mean, Gary Danielson replaying that, I can still hear it.
Just amazing. 1890 Army-Navy had their first meeting. How many years have they not played Army-Navy?
I didn't. I said 2, but it was 10.
10. 1894 to 98, 1909, then a couple years during World War I, 1917 to 18, then a couple years during the Great Depression, 1928 to 1929.
How about that?
So there you go. Thanks, everyone, for participating in our trivia contest this year. We'll get in touch with our winner coming up. Jeff, thanks for another great year.
Rich, you too. You do an awesome job with this show and everything you do for the voice of the Army football and Army athletics. So, man, just appreciate you.
No, appreciate you, Jeff. Another great year. Lots of thank yous to pass along. Steve Tucker, the general manager of Army West Point Sports Properties, making it happen with the show. Of course, Corey all year with our questions. Tony back at the studio. Jimmy and Skylar. Ryan Panny, who we finally heard his voice tonight, coming with our trivia questions, keeping our video coverage going solid. Great having Mike Buddy, our leadership here. General Gilland, it seems each and every week, their support we so appreciate. For our guests, Clayton Kendrick-Holmes, Army head coach Jeff Monken, Rich DeMarco saying so long for this season from This Week in Army Football. It's Army and Navy coming up on Saturday. Thanks for watching and listening. Have a great night, everyone.
Beat Navy.